What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to your daily dose of Broodwar. I've really been enjoying this series so far. Fantasy versus JAEDONG has been epic. So much fun to cast these games. So we're going to continue on with this series, going straight on into part 3. I just finished part 2 last night, and I'm just stoked to get into more games from these two guys. Got the blue Zerg here, JAEDONG versus the purple Terran. Looks like actually switching it up, changing over to a different account. I'm not sure if I have this one written down. This pack was provided to me by Dude Nerd and the friends at seawall.gg. I'm gonna have to write this one down. Gotta keep checking up to make sure that Fantasy doesn't play any more games. If he does, I'm definitely gonna download them. Make sure, keeping my eye on all of his IDs. That's a feature that we need to have, actually, is real ID. We need to have the real ID feature for seawall.gg so we can just look at their base ID, if you know what I'm talking about, their battle.net ID. And we can find all of their random IDs, their small names that they keep on changing. It's so easy to make a new ID in this game, but you can't really change your Battle.net ID unless you want to buy an entire new copy of Broodwar, which is, I mean, it's not impossible, obviously. It's very easy to buy a new ID. That's what I suspect is going on with Flash. You know, I haven't seen him for quite a long time. I suspect that he's just gone ahead and bought a couple new IDs. Maybe even got some from fans or whatever. I'm sure people are willing to provide him with extra IDs. He's got lots of money, so, you know, buying an extra copy of Broodwar, not the biggest deal in the world. He just doesn't want to be spotted right now. He doesn't want to be watched. He might be playing random or whatever on ladder and maybe leaving some of his games to keep his overall MMR a little bit lower. Not really sure, but we'll be keeping an eye out for him as well. But honestly, I'm more excited for I'm at this point more excited for Fantasy than I am for Flash. I know that's a controversial topic. That's a hot take right there, but this man right here, Fantasy, is more exciting to me right now. He is just such a cool player. Looks like he's finding this observer. It's finding this overlord out here on the map, but JAEDONG managing to save that. Keeping that one alive. Very, very important not to lose that early overlord. And always, always, always keeping the Marines out on the middle of the map. Utilizing them in some very cool ways that we don't see a lot of Terran players do because they are so brittle. But look at this, he's even gonna push in here. I don't know about this. The SCV is scouting everything. He sees the number of lings. I think he's gotta turn around, and yeah, he does. He does turn around. That would be a huge loss. If he did lose all of those Marines, he'd be in a ton of trouble. So he's just gonna fall back to this command center that's finishing up now. We're mining that gas. We're getting our armory here. Excuse me, academy, not armory. With the Marines running back behind the wall. He's going to be safe. This is a pretty standard wall here. We do have a couple of gaps, but small enough that we can clog these up with some Marines and be relatively safe here. That's not quite clogged, but it's fine. There was a Ling all incoming. I think Fantasy could still hold on against that. I don't know if this is a... You know, I don't know if this is actually a hole here. Is this a gap? Looks like Fantasy thinks so, or maybe he's just being careful. Not 100% sure. All you have to do, though, is just take your Marine and right-click over here. If he walks through, then you know it's a gap. But maybe he's not 100% sure. We've got a Spire here coming up for JAEDONG, so he's gonna get into 3-hatch. He's been really loving the 3-hatch in this series. Been using it over and over and over again. And I don't blame him. It is a great build. Or the 2.5 hatch, I should say, actually. Since the hatchery was definitely added on after the gas. And I think the lair was finished as well before we had that 3rd hatch. So 2.5 hatch, very, very powerful. We're going to have at least one larva pop out before or after that spire finishes. And I'm going to go straight into 6 muta here. Surprised we don't have more. Okay, we're actually popping out a couple of drones as well. So you can see this is not, you know, completely bound up in the pressure here from JAEDONG. He does have a follow-up plan. We're going to be grabbing another base, most likely. Yeah, this drone is going to be sent out immediately towards that upper right. We're going to be snagging another base. We should see, you know, Hydra's Den and Queen's Nest probably thrown down over here somewhere, maybe. Try to hide it. Not sure exactly where he's going to throw that down, but it'll have to be put down pretty soon. Here comes the first Mutalisk harassment. Coming in towards this natural base. Finding a lot of turrets here. Gonna go ahead and look for this marine clump. Meanwhile, drone arrives here in the top left. We'll be taking that base now. Ling's kind of circling around the left side. The Mutalisk count is rising here. He's looking for any free pickups he can find while waiting for more Mutalisks to arrive. Now, you don't really want to engage just yet. You could still one-shot a marine, but it's not the best. I'm not going to be able to do that 100% of the time. I'm going to fly here in towards the main now. Finds a turret that's being built. It's a good target there. Oh, flying into the marines. Nice job by Fantasy catching those mutas out. Bit of a mistake here by JAEDONG. He's going to have to retreat all the way back across the map now. He loses his Overlord here in the natural as well, so he is supply blocked right now. Bit of a tough situation here for JAEDONG. Can't be making those mistakes. Fantasy will absolutely capitalize. Still adding on Marines. He's going to be getting a machine shop as well. It's going to be that patented Fantasy build, the one he loves so much. With tanks and most likely some Valkyries coming out as well. Tank Valkyrie. And with this forward position here, and he's scanning to make sure that there's no transition coming. He knows that there's not going to be lurkers anytime soon. So this +1 attack on the Marines is going to be super useful. Plus, we're going to have Valkyries soon. And yeah, this is going to be a great timing. Although I don't see an armory just yet. Where is this armory? Now diving in here towards the natural. He's going to go ahead and attack into the main as well. Ooh, taking a big trade here. I don't like this at all. These Marines just standing their ground and killing so many mutas. And meanwhile, he's going in towards the natural. Stimming up here at the last second. He's going to hit this. Looks like these sunken colonies are going to go down very, very quickly. The mutas are being pulled back home as Lings get cleaned up here, busting through the last sunken. I think that Fantasy may just take this right here, right now, diving on top of these drones. Looks like quite a bit of the drones are going to go down. My God, that's a lot of lost dronage. Down to just 18 here, and we'll be losing even more than that. Finally, the mutas diving in whole hog here with only 5 remaining, though. And 1 drone left in the natural. I think Fantasy comes out far and away ahead in this trade. 45 SCVs to 18 drones. Yikes. And we do have that armory finishing up now. So Valkyries will be getting produced here shortly. Man, we really don't have much drones left over. JAEDONG gonna go ahead and try to counterattack here. He's gonna have to make miracles happen with these mutas here if he wants any hope of winning this game. Looks like he's gonna back off for now as he adds on more mutas. I think he's gonna go probably all in with the Mutalisk play. No, Hydra's Den does start, and a Valkyrie is about to pop out. There's the first Valk. We've got 2 tanks already, and siege mode is in production. I don't know if the tanks can slip through there. Can they? I think maybe they can. Yeah, there we go. So tanks just barely able to slip through there. And then they will be coming up to the front lines now. I think JAEDONG's going to have to build sunken colonies to hold this. And the tanks are just in time to break through that. So I don't know what JAEDONG does here, actually. I think he's just screwed. As a Zerg player, I hate to see this position. This really feels bad, man. When you see these tanks and this Valkyrie, you're like, dude, what am I going to do? This is going to be so tough. I mean, I guess you can try to snipe the Valkyrie. Oh, man. failed snipes here. Tries to go after it. GG. JAEDONG taps out. Yeah, I was correct. JAEDONG, no chance after losing all of that stuff in the natural. He thought he could hold on with just 3 sunken colonies, but Fantasy knew better. He fought the mutas in his own base and busted the front at the same time. A clean win for Fantasy here, taking the lead in this series. Another barcode account here. So, geez, Fantasy jumping around on a ton of different IDs. And I think I've mentioned it before, but he is like 2,700 on all his different IDs. This man, at the time when these games were played in July, he was incredibly high up on the ladder. Incredibly high up on the ladder and just so powerful. Killing off all of these pro players. And, you know, I bet a lot of these pros are wiping their brow like, whew, thank God this man is not in ASL right now. JAEDONG's putting up a good fight against him, but he is looking so scary. See if I can change the colors. No, I can't. Unfortunately, we will be stuck with Red Terran as we get into this game here. Guys, I hope you're enjoying this series. If you are, make sure to subscribe. Check out the other content here. Check out the KCM as well. That's my main gig. It's what I do every single week. Get a lot of these pro players together and you know, test them out in a race battle. It's pretty fun. But if you are enjoying, make sure to support the Patreon as well. I just added a new benefit. We're going to be posting these replays for everyone who supports for $5 or more per month. And we've got plenty of other benefits like exclusive casts and updates and that type of thing. So definitely check it out. I do appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who does support. Now we're going to be moving on in this game. We're back on Vermeer again, by the way, boys. Back on Vermeer. This is one of my favorite maps. It has so many bases. I think the structure of this map is just fantastic. There's a lot of space in the main. The naturals are very fair. There's lots of space to produce turrets and this stuff. You know, there's no really easy place to harass. The natural is a little bit wide open, but with these eggs, you can clog this up with just a couple buildings, you know, racks, supply, and then later you can kill these eggs if you wish to just kind of clear that out to make some more space. And again, Fantasy sending his Marines out on the map. He loves this so much, and I think it's so cool the way he does this. He's playing with the mind of JAEDONG right now. You can see JAEDONG here, the Overlord. He's seeing like, oh, you're moving out with your Marines? Well, maybe I need to produce some lings here. But you know, he's just moving just outside of range of where the Overlord can see, and then he's gonna come back when he sees that those lings are being produced. Or maybe he's not. Maybe he's gonna see that lings aren't produced with this SCV, and he's gonna come flying in with those Marines and try to kill off a few drones. Sometimes that does backfire, but sometimes it ends up working out beautifully for Fantasy. So Fantasy, realizing that there's been a few extra lings produced, he's just gonna go ahead and send these Marines back home, and that's all been spotted now by JAEDONG. But he's fine. No big deal. He's just gonna throw down his hatchery here. That 2.5 hatchery. Once again, just as, you know, things were rounding out here with the lair, he throws down that extra hatchery. He gets the spire. And he will be having quite a bit of larvae. It's exact same build as last game, by the way, guys. I think on both sides as well. We have that second barracks coming up here in the main base with the Academy and Stim Pack on the way. Oh, a little bit of footsies action going on here in the natural. Just taking the opportunity to try and run by, look for, you know, maybe you can get around the back here, put some damage on an SCV, maybe get a kill. Maybe force the Marines over to this side. Maybe he can run by into the main and see what the build is. Doing his best to create opportunities here. JAEDONG gonna throw down a sunken colony back at home. He's a little bit worried that he might not be able to get the mutas out in time to deal with this incoming push, but as long as he threatens to counterattack, I don't see why he wouldn't be able to get those out in time. Spire is now finishing up here. Oh, don't lose too many of these lings, then there's no counterattack at all. Sunken colony is on the way here. Still threatening it, and 5 mutas are in production, so I think we're good from here. JAEDONG gonna get away with just a single sunken colony. He doesn't need to build 2. Of course, you never want to build a sunken colony at all if you can avoid it, but it's fine. We'll build 1 if there is that threat of a bust. It looks like Fantasy not threatening right now, just gonna sit back at home, building up his turret count, and getting into 3 barracks play. +1 is on the way here, adding on those turrets everywhere, making sure he's not going to get supply blocked as well. And JAEDONG, well, let's see how these first 5 mutas do. Oh god, that's not a good start. Not a good start at all, but gonna group up these mutas now. Try to find any reinforcements that he can. Kind of scoping out this Marine medic wall. Fantasy doing a good job of moving away when the mutas come in, and then running forward and trying to gun down a targeted muta whenever they get a little bit too close. Nicely done. Picks off the first muta. Looks like some lings tried to run into the natural there. He loses another muta here. Oh, keeping the medic safe. Really good control so far from Fantasy. JAEDONG taking small kills here and there, small picks, but hasn't been able to take as much as you would regularly see against a lower tier player. Always the Marines are going to be kind of spreading out, moving around. Oh, this is a good opportunity. No, JAEDONG not able to capitalize there. Right as the Marines are coming up the ramp, that's always a good spot, especially if they're a little bit spread out. JAEDONG, he's just going to wait for the full group of mutas. Also, flyer attacks is not yet finished. And once that's done, your mutas become substantially more potent. Third base is up here in the top left. He's decided to take the natural, which is kind of a mind game play. As if he's heading out on the map, though, that might be able to spot it. What JAEDONG is relying on is that Fantasy's not going to find this base here in the top left for a long time. That's kind of the plan. He's hoping that, you know, Fantasy's going to have to spend scans looking for that third base over and over again, and he's just not going to be able to find it for a long time. Nice job getting on top of the reinforcements here. JAEDONG doing exactly what you should as a Zerg player in this moment. Oh, he split out the damaged muta. And unfortunately, oh, splitting out that one, that's not correct. Looks like we found the base here in the top left. That's a big win for Fantasy. Finding that without having to spend all of his scans gives him a certain level of comfort here in this game. And we've got a Queen's Nest coming up. We've got the Hydralisk Den down. I don't see Lurker. There it is. Lurker's now going to be researched here. It's a little bit slow, though, I have to say. Quite a few lings coming out here. That's going to be spotted by Fantasy. And you know what? Immediately going to rally forward units here. I think that's the right call. We need to get our forces all together here as quickly as possible, because when you see that number of lings popping out, you know the plan here for JAEDONG is to crush this army that's on the map. He's going to try and come forward with all of those lings and mutas and really try to, like, wipe out all these Marines and medics. And so Fantasy doing the exact right thing here and just hiding back in his natural, denying that kill. Not allowing that kill is a win here for Fantasy. He doesn't have map control anymore. He will have to hold these mutas in his main now, of course, but he's not going to lose this big force of Marines and medics that he's been building up to for quite some time. And it's looking like SK Terran style going to come out of Fantasy this game. He doesn't want to go for that tank push this time around. And JAEDONG, well, he's got a ton of mutas. These aren't going to be very useful, though, pretty soon here. As soon as Irradiate's done, we've got 75 energy on a science vessel. Things are going to get difficult. Bunch of Marines coming down here. Oh, this is actually a great move from JAEDONG. Kind of serendipitous here. He didn't intend for this, but the Marines came down to try and catch the mutas as they were leaving the main. He wanted to, you know, force the mutas out and catch them right here. But right at the same time, Lings were heading down this direction, and he managed to get on top of a ton of those Marines and get a bunch of kills. So a great move there by JAEDONG. It's putting him in a good spot right now to actually move into this mid-game phase. He's got the base out here in the front as well. So as long as he holds this position... Oh, he's coming up with the lurkers here towards the front. Gonna try and run forward, jump on top of these Marines. They have to back away here. Bunch of Irradiates going down on some of these lurkers. Gonna have to burrow once again. No point in running those guys away. They will be dead. One Irradiate kills the lurker. 4 vessels out here in the front. We do have the Defiler Mound finishing up here, and Consume has begun. Adrenal is on the way as well. Oh, burrow, burrow, burrow. Oh, great spine hits there as well. He did lose 1 lurker, but trading it out for a bunch of Marines definitely worthwhile, I think, for JAEDONG right now. As long as he's holding this base in the top left is safe. He needs to get Defiler out really, really soon so that he can hold that base, though. Oh, coming in at a nice angle here. Looks like Fantasy gonna break free. Lurker's gonna be on the retreat now, running back home. Lings are gonna loop around. Maybe they can come in for a counterattack here. Would be a nice move to kind of slow things down, but we need to see Lurkers and Defilers here immediately, and the 4th base is coming up. 4 gas is the goal here. More hatcheries coming down in the main. Do we have the Ultralisk Cavern? Not yet. A lot of Lurkers here in the natural. He's gonna start stacking them up as well. Make sure he's got a good juicy stack right here at the front. 3 Lurkers on top of each other. It means that these cannot irradiate easily. Oh god, he's actually left a few of these kind of out in the front here, not stacked up. So he gets some great irradiates there. Let's take a look at the number of vessels here. 6 already with +2 done as well. Ouch. That is scary, actually. That's a lot of damage right now with only +1 armor done, and we don't have +2 armor on the way here for JAEDONG either. Kind of slacking on that upgrade. There we go. He gets it now. Gonna come forward here and get rid of the Defiler. We will have a Dark Swarm, though. Dark Swarm gonna come down. Plague is on the way. That's all JAEDONG needs. He just needs to hold on right now. And Fantasy needs to put on as much pressure as he can while taking this 3rd base. I'm surprised we don't have a double drop coming out, and he's not actually producing anything off of these starports right now. So maybe a supply block, is he? No, not supply block. Looks like he's just slacking a little bit on the starport production time. Got 2 Defilers here, ready to go. Droning up once again. He's at 51 drones, so he doesn't need too much more than this. Needs to saturate the space up here, though. That'll be the next priority. Keeping this alive is priority number 1, though. Coming forward here, does pick off a couple of Scourge. That's always a nice pickup. We're ready for a drop here in the main. Very, very ready. A Defiler gonna make its way up to the front. He can hop this Defiler through the Nidus and immediately throw down a Dark Storm if necessary. Trying to get this, okay, he actually clicked the Lurker stack there before the Overlord got into position, so that's nice. Coming up here, gonna try and get this Overlord, but there's not too much that Fantasy can do right now. He's gonna take this base. Is he gonna transition into mech? No, he's not. He's still going for a bunch of infantry upgrades. A lot of infantry upgrades coming up right now. Ooh, getting 1 vessel. That's great. How many vessels do we have now? Just 7. We were gonna be on 8, but one of them gets picked off. We're adding on a lot of fire bats now. Armor's coming up. Flyer Carapace is coming up as well. Fantasy's gonna have a tough time here, man. He's gonna have a real tough time taking on JAEDONG, who's on 4 gases. We're really going into a late game here, and you know, this is gonna be a challenge. All right, we're going in with the eraser trick. Oh man, no reaction here from JAEDONG. No reaction whatsoever. Oh my god, so many kills. Fantasy just not afraid at all to pull this type of move, and he gets so much for that. Crazy. Now a burrow starts. JAEDONG like, damn it, why didn't I have burrow earlier? That just cost me so many drones. That was like 10 drones, maybe even more, that just got sliced down there. These two Scourge not on duty, man. There's the first plague on a bunch of these Marines and medics, and actually Fantasy loses a lot there. That entire group of Marine medic and Firebat just got wrecked. Here comes a big drop into the main. Oh boy, Fantasy gonna go for it. 2 Dark Swarms come down though, right on top of all of this, and the Marines are gonna have to bail out of this Dark Swarm, but they're gonna be met by a ton of Lings come running up here into the main of the top left. They're gonna kill all of these Marines. Yeah, that's just not enough here for Fantasy. He lost some of the drop ships. He lost 2 of the drop ships actually, and he's gonna try again, but man, oh man, this is just not a winning strategy right now for Fantasy. Just dropping with Lings underneath the dropships already. Got right into the meat grinder here. He's gonna lose these dropships as well, and an army flying down here to the bottom left. Great medic wall though. Medic wall is insane right now. The Mutas coming up though to help out. This help from the Mutas is actually gonna mean this is gonna get broken here. He's adding on a couple of factories, but Fantasy falling apart now. JAEDONG finding ways in. Is going to be able to break this. We've got a lot of Marine medic coming down here. He might just barely be able to save this, and the factories aren't going to end up dying here. So maybe he's going to be okay. Maybe he can get enough tanks on this high ground to keep this base safe from the incoming Ultralisk swarm. We're going to have a ton of Ultralisk coming up here soon. Ooh, some lurkers up here. Gonna be keeping this alive. Oh, nice snipe there on that drone. The drone was being sent out to take the 5th, but he manages to stop that, at least for now. This Marine over here blocking that. This Marine over here blocking this base. So a Marine at each location, but eventually those will get taken out. And now JAEDONG is unleashed on the map. Let's take a look at the upgrades. +4 armor, +3 attack. So just great upgrades from Fantasy overall, but the Ultras are going to come out here. They are still going to be able to win fights against low numbers of Marines and medics. Once the Marine medic group gets too big, they're not really going to be able to take those fights. But oh god, here comes a lot of Scourge as well. It's going to pick off all the science vessels. God, was that every science vessel? I think all the science vessels are gone. We've only got 2 more that have just popped out. Ling's getting on top of the tanks here. Not enough time to build up that all-important tank count on the high ground in order to hold this area. Marines and medics coming down here. Oh god, 1 Ultra going to work on these SCVs like crazy, killing off a ton of them. Does he have attack upgrades as well? I think he does. +1 attack is done. +3 and +2 is about to finish. Fantasy on the ropes right now, but he is getting tanks into position. He's got some decent tank production. I'm not sure if he's safe though in his natural, and we're gonna have defilers coming out here soon too. And with 5 gas and 6 gas coming online shortly, this is gonna get really dirty really quickly. Science vessels now here in the natural. I don't know what they're doing. My god, what is this? What am I looking at? Okay, there's the eraser trick. He's gonna go for it, dealing as many kills as he can. Oh man, JAEDONG's just not paying attention. He's losing so much. Oh man, that's brutal. 15 kills in total on these 2 science vessels. They can actually run away right now too. They don't have to stay here and die. That looks like one of them will end up getting picked off in the end. Oh, Ultras making their way into the natural right now, killing off a ton of Marines here and making their way. Yeah, look at that. 9 and 10 kills. What? Oh my god, that's so many kills on these 2 Ultras. Looks like there was a lack of reaction from Fantasy, and he gets a huge plague on his army. I don't think he can hold on to the main right now. The bottom left looks very strong, but it seems like he's just been sending all of his tanks. He needs a good layer of tanks over here as well, and he just doesn't have enough. GG. Fantasy taps out. Yeah, you need to have tanks on that high ground over your natural as well. It's so funny. What do you have, like, you know, 15 tanks down at the bottom left and none at the natural? I guess he thought that he could hold on with just Marines, but that's not going to be the case. JAEDONG finds the cracks and wedges his army inside of them. Breaks open Fantasy here and takes a game off of him. Very nicely done. We've got such a close series here, guys. This is so exciting to see. We're going to be jumping right on into the next one. Let's go. All right, yet another legendary match from these two legendary players. Got Fantasy here in the top left, JAEDONG in the bottom left. Again, I think on Vermeer, yeah. So another game on Vermeer. We're getting tons of Vermeer games today, boys. It's a great map. It's led to some excellent games so far, so I'm very happy to see it. I'm not a huge fan of some of the other maps in our map pool. For example, Fighting Spirit, not the biggest fan, as you guys may well know. Not the biggest fan of Neo Sylphid either. Neo Sylphid, yeah, it's okay. Eclipse, yeah, I'm not really that big of a fan, I gotta be honest. It's a tough map, especially for Zerg. I feel there's just not a lot of options. You kind of have to go into Hydros Defiler. It's just kind of par for the course on that map. I'm not unhappy that that map exists. I think it's a great map for kind of changing the metagame overall. It's done a lot to kind of bring Hydros Defiler back into the meta, but I'm not the biggest fan of playing Hydros Defiler or being forced to play that style, rather than, you know, being able to go into a normal game. Anyway, I've gone on long enough. We've got a 12 hatch here from JAEDONG, and just a barracks regularly timed here from Fantasy. So likely we'll be seeing the exact same play out of him, sending out his Marines probably to this position right here, kind of creating some opportunity for diving into the main or diving into the natural and getting some drone kills, but most likely pulling back to the natural, which will be set up here shortly. And I like the Fantasy style. I really do enjoy it. I think that it leaves a lot of room for innovation or room for maneuvering, you know? It's not a what I would call like a static build or like a, you know, inflexible build. Yeah, that's the word that I'm looking for. It leaves a lot of room for flexibility in that, you know, we can put on pressure, but we don't have to. You know, we can transfer into that Valkyrie tank push, but we don't have to. We can still go for SK Terran style. There's just a lot of unknowns for the Zerg player. It means that you kind of have to prepare for a lot of different things, and you always have to be checking what is Fantasy gonna do next, because it's just not clear exactly what he's going for, and you can always change up the strategy. It's not like, you know, you come in, you check the build, you go, oh, he's going for a Goliath timing attack at X minutes, you know what I mean? And then you just prepare for that. There's a lot of different things that can come out of Fantasy, and I think that that's why this man is so strong and so good on the ladder. JAEDONG sticking to his guns here, completely going for the same build all 3 games today. And yeah, the 2.5 hatch with the hatchery thrown down just before the lair finishes. We're gonna get that Spire here in a moment, and we're gonna see exactly what we've seen every game, which is a Mutalisk timing here with about, you know, 6 to 8 Mutalisks popping out, and, you know, a little bit of pressure. We'll see where he goes from there, but Fantasy sees everything. He knows everything. He's got his academy finishing up here. He has his second barracks now. Quite a few Marines out in the front. Fantasy, or JAEDONG definitely does have to respect Fantasy here. You can't just, you know, not build any lings, not build any sunken colonies. He's got 6 lings. He's gonna build 1 sunken, so that'll at least keep him safe until I think mutas pop out. Speed is about to finish up as well, so not able to cut any corners here. Just respect from both sides so far. Even, you know, Fantasy not trying to dive in to get some kills or anything. He's respecting that JAEDONG's built enough lings. He knows that he's not going to be able to get that damage, and if he did lose those Marines, he'd be in a tough spot. So mad respect from both these players, and for both these players. They have been playing excellently today. Second creep colony going to come down. I guess he's realized that, you know, we're probably not going to be able to do some sort of counterattack here and you know, force this from moving, or force this to stop moving forward. So second sunken colony again. Just respect here shown by JAEDONG. This is going to finish up just barely in time. Right the moment this Marines arrive, boom, that sunken colony is done. And these mutas are going to pop out here. 8 mutas going to hit the field and head directly across the map, because now no longer with these 2 sunken colonies, no longer does JAEDONG have to fear a break, potential bust here at the front. You can just go across the map and start to hit these SCVs, and oh my god, the missile turrets are not done. He's moving out. Oh no, this is bad for Fantasy. He's gonna lose some of these some of these SCVs here, building these turrets. 3, 4, 5 SCVs have already gone down. Oh man, that's really not good. This is bad for Fantasy. JAEDONG taking a big edge here in the early game. We're gonna get another few SCVs. We don't have range, so you can't really hold this off. You need these turrets to finish up on time. It's so important. Gets a free medic as well. Oh my goodness. JAEDONG in a nearly unbeatable position now. This is so good for him. Fantasy's gonna have to pull out something really impressive here. It's gonna be a factory. Goes directly into factory off of 2 racks. I like it. He's not gonna be able to, you know, overwhelm the Zerg player now. After losing this many SCVs, no chance he's gonna be able to go, you know, just straight up Marine Medic and overwhelm JAEDONG. He needs something else. He needs an X factor here in order to win this game, and that's gonna come only from getting this factory out faster. Something that you can, you know, pull out here. Maybe a Valkyrie, maybe, you know, some tanks. I don't know. I think it's probably going to be that, but there are other options. We've got the hatchery here in the center left. What are we doing? All right, JAEDONG going to take that forward base. That is a really aggressive location to take that base. Is he going to throw down a Hydra's Den? No, he's going to get 5, 6 sunkens. He's just going to dive. He's going to dive for the natural and main of Fantasy here. Yeah, he's just coming in. He's going to try and break this. See if he can kill all of the turrets, kill all the Marines, and just, you know, get in here. Losing quite a few of these mutas on the initial bust, but look at that. Fantasy runs back home immediately. This guy is so smart, man. He just knows. He really just knows what's going through his opponent's mind, what his opponent is trying to do. The moment he saw these extra sunkens thrown down, he's like, oh, I need to head home right now and save my natural base. And that's exactly what he does. We've got the floating factory here. We've got 1 starport finished. Armory is just about done. Uh-oh, he forgot this. He forgot the control tower in all the confusion there. Control tower is going to be late. So he can't start the Valkyrie right away. That could be significant. We'll see. Control tower about halfway done. Then he can start the Valkyrie once that's finished. More and more mutas being sent up here. Just more and more mutas in general being sent to the front. He is producing so much. Just diving right here on top of the turrets. He kills 2 immediately. I think he's using 2 groups of Mutalisks right now. 2 groups of Mutalisks here. Oh god, diving right in on top of these Marines. That was scary. Going in for the main now. He's gonna dive on top of these 2 turrets. Yeah, he's got 2 groups. He definitely has 2 groups of mutas, controlling them so tightly together that it looked like it was almost 1 group. Really impressive stuff here from JAEDONG. Still sending out more and more mutas. He's even got some Scourge here. The moment that first Valkyrie pops out, you know he's going to dive that. He is going to dive right on top of that Valkyrie, and there it is. He sees the Valkyrie. Scourge have yet to move, but he's right on top of these barracks, controlling this game completely. JAEDONG dominating right now, going to go after this Valkyrie. Valkyrie gets one shot off. It's going to die. There it is. He kills it. Going after all the turrets here. Sorry, I'm losing my voice right now. JAEDONG just crushing. Ling's diving here in towards the main. This is it. JAEDONG has done it. He's taken out Fantasy once again with some beautiful play, just diving on top of everything. This all came from the lateness of the turrets. Just having those turrets just slightly too late means that Fantasy lost too much in that early game. JAEDONG able to take control of this completely, and now Fantasy, with that Fantasy patented GG timing, we're gonna wait until all his barracks are dead. Actually, he's gonna come out here and try to repair his barracks right now. Gotta keep them alive. Still microing this one single Valkyrie, 2 kills. Marines are popping out and trying to save the day, but we already have the 3rd base up and operational. All that he needs to do is keep pumping Lings and Mutas. He should be able to take this one. Really, only Lings are necessary now, because the Marines are dying the moment they pop out of the barracks. It's like these Mutas are going to be forced back. Some more Scourge coming up to join the fight. He's going to lose this Valkyrie. Yikes. Loses the Valkyrie. And yeah, GG. Good God, I almost lost my voice there. You guys might have heard that. I had to stop and cough, because that was just incredible play from JAEDONG, man. The two groups of Mutas. I've never seen it microed that well. Like, I've seen it microed before where you can see 2 separate groups moving, but that looked like literally 2, just one group. It looked like one group, but there was definitely 2 in there. He loses the last Valkyrie. The final few fire bats are gonna go down. That Valkyrie does pop out in the end, but it will be picked off here. All the Marines are gonna go down, and GG is called. So impressive there. So damn impressive by JAEDONG, the way he was able to control that fight, microing 2 groups of Mutas at the same time. Just overwhelming Fantasy. And really, I was talking about how the respect was so prominent in that game. You could see that each player really respecting each other, their timings and their skill. But Fantasy cutting into the corners just a little bit too much, a tiny bit slow on his turrets in the natural. And when that respect is not shown and the Mutalist timing is there, JAEDONG is going to take that game out of your hands, and he immediately did. He got those kills in the natural. He built the sunken colonies necessary to hold off any counterattack, and he just heaped on the pressure until Fantasy broke down here in this last game. Guys, this is it. We've reached the end. We've still got more Fantasy versus JAEDONG games, but that'll have to be for another day. This has been your daily dose of Broodwar, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.